course, is a story for another day, and I'll see you, and we'll talk about that down the road.
Alright, wrestling fans, you got the show Bill Schuyler here at One Wrestling Presents NXT Replay for the weeks of Wednesday, 9/21/16 and the 28th of September. Let's get right into it. Last week we opened up with Samoa Joe, who was reveling in the damage he committed upon NXT champion Shinsuke Nakamura, and he reads a full medical report on his injuries and releases the fact that he will be out a minimum of 6 to 12 weeks, my friends. He then demands that Regal either gives him Nakamura or hands him over his NXT title. William Regal is pissed and says he will handle the situation the way he sees fit, and that includes repercussions to Joe for his attack on the champion. Joe leaves the ring, gets in Regal's face, and gives him 1 week to make a choice, or the entire NXT roster will end up like Nakamura. Highlights, my friends, next of Kota Ibushi versus Cedric Alexander in the Cruiserweight Classic, because he makes his NXT debut in the main event tonight versus Andrade Almas. He says he has fought and clawed his way on the indies for 7 years and was told he would never make it, that he would indeed fail. Well, tonight he begins his journey here in the WWE NXT universe. We then get New Jersey's own Liv Morgan interviewed about her challenging last week of NXT Women's Champion Asuka. Says she is not here to bow down to Asuka or anybody else in the locker room. Asuka, of course, comes right on out, smiles, and says to her, "You think you're ready? Let's find out." Cannot wait to see Asuka take Little Miss Morgan to school. Austin Aries, the greatest man who ever lived, going up against a man formerly known as Biff Busick, now called Oni Lorcan. Fantastic outing by Oni, and no surprise for us Biff Busick fans. Aries, of course, is truly working his heel gimmick to the hilt. Lorcan looked to have A-Double's number several times in this match, which was quite the achievement against the former Ring of Honor and Impact Wrestling not only world champion, not only tag team champion, but also, I believe, the longest holder of the X Division title. And with regardless, he was one of the greatest champions in the X Division of all time, and as a world champion he was up there with the best. He is nothing but success, and I cannot wait to see him make his way through NXT and then get to that main roster and do what he was born to do. Now let's get back to this. We got Oni doing everything he can to win this match, but alas, all the hard-hitting wrecking ball offense ended with Austin Aries locking in the last chancery for that submission win. Tap, tap, tap. A-Double then takes the victory. He then begins talking a whole lot of smack about Itami, calling him a coward, and out to ringside, the man formerly known as Kenta makes his way out, but Austin Aries, ever the slimy chicken shit heel, takes off and continues the mind games on Hideo Itami. This is a feud I am so looking forward to, and we're going to have some definite match of the year candidates coming up between these two gentlemen. We then get a video package on an NXT prospect by the name of Dan Matha, This is a big boy, 6'7", 300 pounds, a beast who debuts in NXT 2 weeks, my friends. We then get a CWC Finals footage applauding all 32 competitors, and the Revival come out mocking and sarcastically applauding, and DIY, Johnny Wrestling himself, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa bum rush the champs, and the brawl ensues all the way out to the parking lot area by a car until security breaks it up. Another feud that, I mean, they are just building here in NXT. It's great that all of a sudden they seem to finally got their mojo back, and they're working these matches out. They're not giving them to us willy-nilly. They're building the storylines. They're running this old school, my friends, and there's some guys out there I'm hearing who are complaining because it's not all the big stars wrestling against each other all the time. This is also developmental, people. You got to build up these younger guys with these veterans, and they're doing it, in my opinion. They're right back on track, and I'm expecting huge things by the next takeover up in Canada. But I digress. We get Aaliyah versus Billie Kay. First off, let me tell you this. Billie Kay and Peyton Royce are the only legitimate women stars besides the champ herself, Asuka, on the NXT roster at this time. These two women, these two Australians, these Aussie lasses, these two Sheilas, if you will, are way underrated as far as I'm concerned here in NXT, and not getting the credit they deserve up until starting about now. Billie Kay got a great push at the last show takeover, and Peyton Royce, of course, they're building her up. These two women should be dominating, and when they get to the main roster, look out, because to me they are custom made for Raw and SmackDown. But again, it's Billie Kay tonight against New Boot Aaliyah, and what we do here is, my friends, it's just a big lesson for Aaliyah that she's wrestling a big star. Again, a star along with Peyton that need to get a major push, and NXT needs to also bring in new talent. Talent like Jessica Havoc, former TNA Knockouts champion and former champion on the indie scene all over the country, if not the world. And of course, the global sensation herself, alpha female, Jazzy, friends here to One Wrestling, and especially the Big Slam Nation with myself and Big Ray. Alpha versus Asuka, if booked properly, would be an international main event, and would be something that would put NXT on a worldwide screen that would just bring in huge money and attention. I'm talking Beast in the East 2, perhaps, or a match in Germany, but I think Japan would be the best, as alpha female not only is a European wrestler, wrestling mostly out of Germany. She's been here in the States. I had the opportunity to witness her first match in the U.S., which against Jessica Havoc is who would happen to be here in New Jersey. What an experience to watch these two true old school women just destroying each other. Alpha female is now a major star in Japan. So to have her and Asuka go at it in a major feud built up would just be phenomenal. And seeing someone like Jessica Havoc, say, at a feud with so many of the girls on the main roster, of course, down here in NXT, would help to develop her versus Nia Jax, I think, would be pure money. This match, of course, was the big win for Billie Kay. There would be no doubt in your mind. And then let's see what we had, my friends. We get a Sanity vignette. That's right, Sanity, a new wrestling team coming in to NXT, and I cannot wait. I have been chomping at the bit for this faction to make its way here in NXT. Who are Sanity? Sawyer Fulton, Nikki Cross, Alexander Wolf, and Eric Young. Yes, Eric Young of TNA is going to be the leader of this faction. They have a brand new look, and I'm expecting total dominance by this faction. And Eric Young, definitely in my opinion, will be an NXT world champion without time going on and on. Within a year, he should be champ. Eric Young, phenomenal wrestler that can do everything from slapstick humor to old school brawling, vicious heel, great baby face when he's had to be, and he can scientifically wrestle his butt off in the ring. And of course, him and Bobby Roode, former partners in TNA, friends and guys that could have a pretty interesting feud themselves here in NXT. We then get an interview with Mandy Rose, where she begins to trash talk Ember Moon. And Mandy, you are so gonna get destroyed by Ember Moon. Beware the moon, my lady. And then the main event, Andrade Cien Almas versus Cedric Alexander. You may know Cedric if you're a Ring of Honor fan. This is a guy that's deserved to be up here in the main roster in NXT and a major star on the big SmackDown or Raw, quick as can be. I really would like to see him become the NXT champion. But this match here, just really a good match, and the best outing I've seen by Almas since his debut here in NXT. But Cedric Alexander is obviously going to get pushed to the moon here, and no matter what Almas did and tried to do, Cedric was 2 steps ahead of him and just that much better. He ended it with the lumbar check, and that ended the night for Almas. Cedric Alexander is just phenomenal. A great wrestler that can do it all, my friends. Get behind him. If you're not a fan, get on the train now, and just cannot wait to see what happens. Now this week we open up with William Regal inside the empty NXT arena. He's talking about the Dusty Rhodes passing and the announcement of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic for this year with the finals at NXT TakeOver in Toronto. And I'm making a prediction right here, right now, that Bobby Roode will win the NXT title in TakeOver Toronto. Take that to the bank. The show is calling it right now. And next week, the first round begins. We open up with Ty Dillinger, the Perfect 10, versus Angelo Dawkins. I love Ty's gimmick, and his ring work is impeccable. The guy has moved his way up from being enhancement talent and is just about there to be a real player in NXT. And as much as I dig Ty's gimmick, I absolutely despise Dawkins and this stupid stirring up thing he does. Ty destroyed Dawkins in just over 2 minutes. And then, glorious, the music hits. Bobby Roode walks out and tells him without saying glorious. Just, it was really good. It was a great outing by Bobby Roode, just being magic on the mic. Tells him that he came here for two reasons: to be the champ for NXT, and he wanted to win the Dusty Rhodes Classic. But to do that, he needs a tag partner, and he wants the perfect 10. A little hesitation, and then Ty Dillinger and Bobby Roode shake on it, and I don't know what they're going to call it, but to me, Perfectly Glorious has just been born, my friends. This tag team, I'm really looking forward to see what happens. We then get a non-title tag match with the champions, the Revival, versus the Ely brothers. Two giant twins. These guys are monsters. And they make their way to the ring, and out of the crowd comes Samoa Joe. He just gets in there and totally decimates and destroys these two huge brothers. The Elys were just taken apart, and via giant sentons, he just beat the smack out of them. He looks up at the Revival, who are at the top of the ramp. They zip back up their jackets, give the wave, and walk away. They weren't having nothing to do with Joe. Joe then grabs a mic and announces to William Regal that the Ely twins are the first victims of his lack of decision making, and the beatings will continue till he gets that title or he gets NAKAMURA. We get another Dan Martha vignette who debuts next week. I can't wait to see this big man in the ring. I'm hoping that he is everything that he's being hyped to be. We then get a women's match, Ember Moon versus Mandy Rose. Mandy gets what she asked for, and it just was a heck of a lot more than she was expecting. Ember Moon just killed her in the ring and finished her with that diving stunner. Regardless, Mandy Rose actually is improving tremendously. She seems to be way and above Red. You know who I'm talking about, who's no longer here and has made her way to SmackDown, although she's under suspension right now. And this girl here just she looks almost like her, like it could be her sister, but a blonde. Wrestling ability was about the same, but she's getting much better in the ring. But Ember Moon, again, getting that push. She's going to be the go-to girl. She will be a champion in short order. And they're really, really behind Ember Moon. Then we get Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa talking about returning to and winning the Dusty Classic, because they initially formed a team to be in it last year, didn't win. So they have the desire to be not only the winners of the Classic, they then want to defeat the Revival, whether it's in the Classic or out, and they want to win those NXT Tag Team titles. Then we get another Sanity vignette, and then it's the Authors of Pain dismembering Jobber number 1 and Jobber number 2 in 1 minute and 14 seconds. Of course, they had the man with him, Paul Ellering. Paul talked a little on the mic, but he's really not delivering like I want to, because these guys don't talk. He's their heater. He really needs to start talking it up. I want to see him coming out like he used to with the paper in hand, the magazine in hand, and just start talking everything about destroying their opponents. Asuka, we then get going up against Liv Morgan. Liv begged for this match. She politicked for this match, and Asuka just completely eliminated and decimated Liv Morgan in a non-title match in a 54-second squash. You heard me right. Liv Morgan got her ass handed to her in 54 seconds by Asuka. Once again, there is no one in the women's division in NXT right now that has the ability, in this guy's opinion, to take the title off of Asuka. Her going to the main roster, it's a little different story, and man, there's a lot of big feuds she could have, but I think she's going to maintain here and be champion in NXT for quite a while. Again, please, if you're listening out there, Triple H, William Regal, anybody involved, sign Alpha Female and Jessica Havoc and have them fight and feud with Asuka. That is big international money and acclaim. Asuka versus Alpha Female and takeover in Japan. Beast in the East 2. Let's get it done. Fans, tweet them, hit it out there. Put that out. Asuka versus Alpha Female. Hashtag it and put it up there all the time. Let's see if we can get that rolling. Asuka then gets interviewed and they ask her who's next for her, and she yells into the microphone that nobody is ready for Asuka. Main event time, we get Hideo Itami, the man formerly known as Kenta, going up against indie sensation Lince Dorado, also of the Cruiserweight Challenge. Awesome wrestler. Glad to see him finally getting his due. Great match between these two absolutely great performers. These guys worked very well in the ring together. Hideo Itami would win via the big boot, that hesitation drop kick, and the GTS. A double comes in, jumps Itami, and Hideo gets his defense and offense ready to take out Aries, but he exits and takes it up the ramp, looking like he just won the world title. Great psychology going into Austin Aries and Itami. People are going to be just dying to see this. And the crowd right now, my friends, are absolutely 100%, 95% against Aries, loving him as a heel, but booing the hell out of him, and whoever he's wrestling is getting the babyface push, which is the way it's supposed to be. And Austin Aries, again, is the greatest man that ever lived, and he's also one of the greatest wrestlers in the business of all time. Friends, I am Bill Schuyler. This is One Wrestling's NXT Replay. Catch us each and every week as I bring you everything going on in the world of NXT. Got no breaking news. We are waiting for the possible arrival of one James Storm. Trying to possibly get some interviews going here for the show, and if not here, on the Big Slam Nation, which you can follow us every Friday night at Big Slam Nation. That's myself, Big Ray at Big Ray's show, who also on the Impact Rebellion on WrestleZone, along with myself in the Back in the Day segment with Bin Hameen and OK Fabe. Also the Big Slam Nation. Of course, Ben Amin is a good friend and partner in Big Slam. Guest stars every now and then. We got 8-Track Brown. Follow him at Flower of Fancy. Billie Ray Valentine at Obi-Wan You Know Me. The Professor himself, the glorious one, Professor Quintana. You can reach him at PROFPW Hustle. And of course, the Nature Boy himself, Fame Black. Follow him at Fame Black. And it all gets brought to you with the guidance of the one, the only, the icon, the Hall of Famer, Bill Apter at Apter 1 Wrestling. Follow the man and get his book, Is Wrestling Fixed? I didn't know it was broken. And now I believe Bill's got the audiobook out there and ready. Go to his site, check it out. Go see him. He's at events all the time. Check his page out. Get a chance. Go meet the man. Get his book. He'll autograph it. You could talk wrestling with him. He is a true icon and legend in this business. Again, I am the show, Bill Schuyler. Thank you for joining me this week. I will see you at the matches, my friends, and I'll catch you down the road.